Nonviolence does not mean acceptance, but resistance. Not waiting, but acting. It is not at all passive. It involves strikes, boycotts, non-cooperation, mass demonstrations, and sabotage, as well as appeals to the conscience of the world, even to individuals in the oppressing group who might break away from their past. Direct action does not deride using the political rights, the civil liberties, even the voting mechanisms in those societies where they are available, but it recognizes the limitations of those controlled rights and goes beyond.
The law is not a holy thing. I remember when Dan Berrigan broke the law and they interviewed his 80-year-old mother and they said, "Oh, what do you think about your son? What do you think about him breaking the law?" I guess they thought an 80-year-old woman would have 80 years of respect for the law behind her and she'd give them the right answer. And Dan Berrigan's mother said, "It's not God's law." And she had it there. The law is made by very mortal people, very limited people, very opinionated people, and people who have very special interests. They make the law, they tell us what the law is, and then they act as if it's holy writ.
Those were the words of Howard Zinn from the documentary on his life, You Can't Be Neutral on a Moving Train. Howard Zinn passed away Wednesday, age 87, author of the massive bestseller, A People's History of the United States, and many other books. He was a historian who challenged the great white man version of history and challenged us all to look at history from the ground up and not just look at it, but make it ourselves with others. The last time I had a chance to talk with him, a bit of rebellion was breaking out. Workers were occupying the Republic Windows and Doors factory in Chicago. Here's Zinn, December 2008 in New York. You've written that elections are not the be-all and end-all of democracy or making change, very far from it. With the election of Barack Obama, where do you see the focus for progressive activism? Applying pressure to the White House or outside?
Well, I see it in the way change has always taken place in this country. It's never taken place at the initiative of the president or Congress. It's not come from the top, it's come from the bottom. When we've had serious changes in the direction of justice and equality, it's come because the people acted. People took direct action. Workers wanting the 8-hour day, they didn't get it from Congress or the president. They went on strike. Black people needed to throw the country into turmoil in order to get what they wanted from the president and from Congress. That's what we're going to need today. Sure, Obama is a great improvement over Bush. Everybody would be a great improvement over Bush. But Obama obviously has forces around him which are holding him very close to caution. And we don't need caution at this point. This system is breaking down. The capitalist system has never been a really good one for working people. And it's even worse now. What are the historic parallels for this moment that you see in the history you've documented? What these workers in Chicago are doing brings us back to the 1930s, to the sit-down strikes. And those sit-down strikes were amazing. And what they said was, no, we can't wait for the president to save us from the power of corporations. We're going to have to do it ourselves. And what they found in the 1930s is that the power of corporations depends on the obedience of the workers. When the workers withdraw their obedience, when they strike, especially when they occupy the factories and don't let the machinery of production go on, the most powerful corporations become helpless. And that's what we have to learn, that their power, the power of the people who control this country, their power depends on our obedience. When we withdraw our obedience, when we go on strike, when we boycott the corporations, when soldiers refuse to go to war, their power ends. What's the role of the independent media and those who care about the independent media in a time like this? Well, the independent media is absolutely essential because the major media are, as always, being subservient to the establishment. The major media are the last ones to learn the truth about what is going on and to pass it on. We saw this during the war in Vietnam. We've seen it in the present war. It takes the media are slow learners, and so we depend on the independent media, independent journalism, independent radio, independent television, the internet. We depend on that to give us the facts and analysis that we need to fuel a new movement, which is what we need today.
What do you say finally to those who are thinking to themselves, we want the Barack Obama presidency to succeed. This is a man we voted for. Maybe we shouldn't go out and protest right now while he's going to be under attack from pundits on the right.
That would be a great mistake, to sit back and be passive. Sit back and be passive means that Obama will have nobody putting pressure on him but the right wing and the center, the Republicans and Democrats. And it means that we're not going to have the change that Obama promised. The best thing we can do for Obama is to make him better than he is.
Howard Zinn, thank you so much for being with us here on GRITtv. Appreciate it. I'm Laura Flanders. Stay tuned.